Hello, hello, hello. This is the Sprint Right Option podcast, part of the Blue Wire Hustle Network. I am Andrew Pasquini. To my right is a man some may refer to as an NFL schedule insider. I refer to him as my best friend. His name is Jason Aponte. Jason, how you doing today? I'm going to start by interviewing you. How did you get the job of making the 49ers schedule?
Well, it was really easy. I just, when we talked about, so remember, we're the reason Mac Jones wasn't the pick at 3.
Yes.
So I thought, hey, if I have that sort of power, why can't I just tell them when they're going to play their certain games? Yeah. So I just said, hey, look, knowing what we can do, knowing the power of our voices on Twitter, just go right ahead and go right to them and say, hey, listen, I want them to play the Bears on Halloween. I want them to play week 1 on the road, and I want them to play week 2 in Philly near me. And I want week 3 to be the home opener. So it worked. Finally, for you guys to say that the team doesn't, listen to fans or anything like that, wrong again. We made them change the pick from Mac Jones, and now we forced them into picking the games that we wanted to pick. So when I was giving my little predictions on Twitter, it wasn't predictions. It was me bullying the 49ers into saying, these are the games that you need to schedule.
These are the scheduled games. Jason Aponte wants it in this order specifically. He doesn't like opening at home. He likes to go on the road twice. So obviously talking about Jason Aponte, knowing the schedule, because Jason Aponte is the smartest man in the world.
No.
That's a fact. It's non-disputable.
No.
Smartest man in the world. Let's start calling him that. That's a new Jason Aponte meme. So I guess this podcast, Jason, is about the schedule. That's what we're here to talk about. We have known the opponents for a solid 6 months now, and we found out the order, and apparently it's such important news that apparently leaking this is like leaking draft picks now, which whatever, but we've known the teams. Before we really get in, to you, because it is fun. For me, I like the schedule release because the first thing I look for is the nationally televised games, and it looks like the Niners have 4 this year. As of right now, it can be flex. It's fun to see those stretches. What gets you most excited about schedule release day?
Yeah, finding out, what's the tough stretch of games, when the bye week is, and especially considering there's an extra game, right? Everybody's sitting here waiting to figure out, hey, when is this bye? The bye is going to be a little bit early. And, for everybody who was saying, hey, why are you bringing so many running backs? Why are you bringing all these things? Well, there's an extra game, and you want to make sure that that depth is there. So I think the bye week was the most interesting, especially considering, when we had Kwaski on the show, he was talking about, hey, if you're going to add an extra game, give us an extra bye. It was really interesting to see where this bye fell for the 49ers, and it fell closer to 2019 than it did last year. So, the 49ers are going to have to play 11 straight games after week 5. So, that's not easy, but, their depth is going to be tested. And I think that's why the 49ers went into the draft and they went into the offseason the way they did by loading up on depth, because they don't want to see things like that happen with the injuries.
So I guess going back to last week, you already mentioned the early bye. The bye is week 6.
Right.
Would you rather have a week 6 bye for the 49ers or just a universal bye at week 10?
Because you're a proponent of it, I would love the universal bye, and I would love to. Hey, look, if we can get them to set the schedule the way we want, why can't we just go to the NFL now and just say, hey, listen, these are the rules now. You have to give them another, damn your CBA. We're running things now, and we get to tell you that you have to add an extra bye.
It's just, and I haven't looked at the rest of the division schedule. Let's see here. Let's look at the Seahawks, because that's the team we like the most here. Let's see here. The Seahawks, their bye week is week 9. So to me, that gives an advantage for the Seahawks, because the Niners bye is in the first half. They're kind of perfect. I would prefer to have the perfect in the middle, if not later. But things like that, it bothers me that the Seahawks get a later bye, and obviously, this is just me complaining at this point. I just hate the early week buys. Why don't we give more just centralize it a little more? That's all I want, because I think it is advantageous to the teams who have the later bye weeks compared to the Niner. And this isn't even a Niner thing. It's a conversation because the Niners have a week 6 bye. I wish they kind of kept things balanced. And yeah, there is a mini bye built in. They get the 10 days off between week 16 and week 17.
The Tennessee game, which is a Thursday night game.
Tennessee, and we're gonna go through all of this, obviously, guys. We're giving out our first thoughts of the schedule. The other thing is preseason. I guess we could talk about that for 2 seconds. The Chiefs at the Chargers, and then the Raiders. The Raiders game, I think this is the first time it's been back since they got rid of it. I know they scheduled it last year, but the preseason didn't happen, so that's, I don't know, something interesting. The Niners have 8 home games, 9 road games. The added game with the Bengals being week 14. Yeah, so there's kind of the snapshot. Our first thoughts of the NFL schedule. Let's just dive in game to game now. I mean, I'm going to go 4 games at a time just so we're not reading off 18 names in a row. We'll go 4 at a time, kind of talk about that little block and then go from there. So the Niners open up the season on the road September 12th against the Detroit Lions. I think this is the first time they've played since week 2 of the 2019, Garoppolo season. 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, and that's a 10 a.m. game on Fox. Niners open up with back-to-back 10 a.m. games, West Coast time. Week 2 at Philadelphia, they played them in that Sunday night game that Jason and I talk about way too much from last year. That's September 19th in Philly. Maybe the game I'm most excited for. Week 3, home opener, Sunday Night Football. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. That's electric, and hopefully for that, Rodgers is still there, because you lose, like, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's the Green Bay Packers. I totally.
Wait.
Go ahead.
You are not excited for Blake Bortles on Sunday Night Football?
I was getting there, buddy.
Sorry.
I was getting there. Yeah, Blake Bortles. No, I'm joking. I wasn't getting there. Aaron Rodgers, there's something about the Niners-Packer matchup that even if Rodgers isn't there, this will still be a pretty electric feeling game, because that the red and gold and the green and yellow against each other usually means fun stuff. And then week 4, they get their first game against the Seahawks at home, and this will be the first time, kind of talking about it later down the road, this will be the first time the Niners don't close out the season against the Seahawks in, I think, 3 years. So that first stretch of games, Jason Aponte, what's your thoughts? At Detroit, at Philly, then the Packers and Seahawks?
Well, Jared Goff has to be punching the air right now. He cannot get away from. I mean, he understood where he was going and he knew that they were an opponent. But week 1, goodness gracious, now you get to get the wrath of this team who has been upset with the way that they've been talked about with everything that happened last year. So Godspeed to Jared Goff. That's a W. I'm pretty confident in that. That's going to be more of an ugly win than people think. Honestly, that's not going to be like, a 40-0 type game, because if we know anything about the 49ers, they start a little slow week 1. They'll get the job done. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're just going to go ahead and blow them out. I mean, They'll probably blow them out, but it won't be something spectacular, like where they're scoring every drive, anything, remember, extension of the preseason, week 1 is usually like that. But yeah, Jared Goff, we just need to get out of there with our kneecaps. All right, that's it. That's the last joke I'm going to make about kneecaps.
Oh, I was about ready to go all in on the kneecap jokes. But go ahead, week 2, Philly.
Week 2 in Philly, that's going to be a little bit of a more fun game, I think. Philly's a win too. That's a W. I think that just because of the new coach, again, the 49ers are going to face a lot of teams that have new coaches. So that's back-to-back weeks where, it's Dan Campbell and whoever the guy is that the Eagles coaches. So I can't remember either. The guy who said he's playing rock, paper, scissors.
But head coach.
But yeah, so it's 2 straight games against teams with new coaches. The roster is good over there in Philly, but I fully expect the 49ers to go ahead and handle business there as well on the road. Just a better team, better roster, better coach. I really don't have too many reservations in that game. Week 3, who's the quarterback week 3 for the Packers?
Blake Bortles.
49ers win 85-0. Can I ask you a question? All right,
yes.
Just real quick so we can stay on the Packers. How bad is Jordan Love? How bad is Jordan Love that you have seen him in practice and you have said, listen, we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, but let's go get Blake the Snake. And there's a very big chance that Blake Bortles outplays Jordan Love. Does that make that pick even more egregious? Because it spat in the face of everything that they needed as a team, right? Like they needed wide receivers, they needed all these other things, and they took a quarterback who everybody gassed up. And when you watch him in practice, the practice film that's out there is not good.
Wasn't wasn't and also the Eagles head coach is Nick Sirianni. Just to answer that question.
There you go.
My question is like, what wasn't Love inactive a lot of the season? Like that was the first red flag. I really think everything here is extra at this point. Because I get it. He's not seeing playing time, but I just don't see the purpose of keeping him inactive because Aaron Rodgers is good. There's going to be games where you're going to blow the other team out. You're going to get some backup reps, like things like that. I can't believe that. Yeah. Man, like, did they even come out? Have they said if Bortles is like signed up as the backup or just that?
Yeah.
Because
1 year deal. 1 year deal.
I mean,
they're battening down the hatches. They don't know. They're just trying to prepare.
It doesn't feel great. That just doesn't feel like a co-sign, a sign of encouragement for Jordan Love is bringing in Blake Bortles. And I love Bortles. Like I admit that he is my Mitch Trubisky for Jordan. I'm a big Bortles guy. And 90% of that is from the good place. So like, it, is what it is. So yeah, the Packers Sunday night open the season. I can't think of a better home opener.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would have been so much better if we knew Aaron Rodgers was going to play. That game would be electric, home opener, that. And look, we joke a lot, right? And yes, obviously the point is, for the 49ers to win games, but I would love nothing more than Aaron Rodgers to play in this game. I really would. I don't, listen, and beat him. Beat the best. I don't want to have to play anybody else. Beat him and show him that last year was last year. That was a one-off. The whole team had COVID, and last year was a weird year. So, if the 49ers can get in there and they can get Aaron Rodgers and they can, put a beat down on him again, that's going to say a lot more about their team. And that's what we want. We just want good football and we want the 49ers to win.
Yes. And then week 4 against the Seahawks. I don't know what else has to be said about Seahawks games that we haven't said. Dubs. The biggest of W's. Yeah, so for me, like this stretch, I'm going to be a little conservative on this. I'm not even going to tell you what games I think they're going to win. I would gladly take 2-2 in this. Gladly 2-2.
3-1's got to be the worst case scenario, I think, when you look at these games.
Yeah, I think 3-1's possible, but like the Packers are good, the Seahawks are good. Just take care of the two you have to take care of against the Lions and Eagles. And get whatever. If you can split that Green Bay Seattle set, I'm very happy. But if you're going in to the Green Bay game with one loss, one of them being against either the Lions or Eagles, that doesn't make me feel good. So I'm gonna say 3-1 in this stretch. I think they'll get both the Lions and the Eagles and get one of. I'm gonna say the home opener against the Packers, just because it's the Packers and traditionally the Niners, not just the Niners ownage of the Packers with Shanahan there, because like even the year, his first year there, or not his first year, his second year with the CJ Beathard Monday night game, he went in there with Beathard and almost beat them. But just also the dominance he has over his own, his quote unquote coaching tree. Because I know him and LaFleur are pretty good friends, and then the Seattle game, man. Seattle's just always a toss up for me. I'm not comfortable saying it's a win, and I'm not comfortable saying it's a loss. So I'll say 3-1 in that stretch. So for me, that puts the Niners at 3-1. The second stretch here, the Arizona Cardinals at Arizona. That's the first game against Kyler. What's the other one? Oh, JJ Watt. That's the one I was thinking of.
AJ Green.
AJ Green. First time the Niners are going to get to see them. Then week 6, we already talked about the bye week. Early bye week. Nobody wants to see that. I hate it. Week 7, DeForest Buckner makes his return to Levi Stadium.
That game's going to be electric.
That game's going to be electric. Maybe a North Dakota State quarterback thing going on there. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the Niners early on. They go week 7 against the Indianapolis Colts. Another day where I'll be saying I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. That game's on NBC. And then they go to Chicago October 31st. We also know that day as Halloween. 10 a.m. start. I remember the Niners had a Halloween game against the Bears. Oh, man. It was a Sunday night. It was either a Sunday night or a Monday night game, and it was windy. That's the random thought I had. I'm going to Google this while you talk. But what's your thoughts on that stretch?
So, we just got to go through it again one more time. So after the bye, you're talking about, who was it again?
Indianapolis and Chicago.
Indianapolis, and then Chicago. Okay, so I'm really happy that you brought up the bye week and the idea of, hey, is this when somebody, the North Dakota State quarterback plays? We're talking about Trey Lance. Depends on how it's going, obviously with Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think that, that is another reason that you should have been looking at the bye, because usually that's when you prepare guys to get him going, get him moving. Now, the problem is that the bye week, that is the mini bye week after Thursday Night Football, is late in the season. I don't think you can make a switch to the quarterback there unless things have gone off the rails, right? Yes. I don't think if you're going into the playoffs, you're going to make a switch right there. So that was really important for you to bring that up, because that is important. So Colts game, that's going to be fun, man. That's going to be incredible. DeForest Buckner, coming back, revenge game. Carson Wentz there. Who knows what that team's going to look like? They're loaded on offense. They're loaded on defense. That's going to be a really, really fun test. And I'm glad the 49ers get a week off to prepare for it, because that's going to be a really, really, really fun game. That one's tough for me to call right now. I really have to see a little bit more before I can definitively put my stamp on whether I think they're going to win or lose. I think that's a toss-up. That could be a game that if the 49ers lost, I know you don't want to hear this. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, that the Colts are a really good team. They are. After that, you said, who's next?
It is the Bears, the Halloween game.
The Bears. Oh, my goodness, man. So I have already booked. I'm out there. We're going to be out there for that game, ready to go. The thing is, I would have loved for that to be Trey versus Fields, man. That would have been electric, honestly, to be there in Soldier Field. But
yeah,
with that one,
we'll see. A lot of things can change. Like a lot,
they
can change before that point. So
they can, absolutely, 100%. But yeah, I mean, I've got to count this one as a win for the 49ers, because the Bears, with Justin Fields, love them and everything. They're still lacking some things, and I don't really think too much of Matt Nagy. It's less about what I think about Justin Fields, because every other game but this one, I want him to tear the league up. So yeah, I'm with it, man. I think that's another win right there. And then what's the next one?
Well, that's the last of that stretch.
All right, so here, Ray Iverson has a donation. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the donation, man. And he says, what team do you guys think Trey Lance makes his first start against? And Andrew, any other jersey changes you find out? Jason appreciated responding to me on Twitter. No problem, bro. I try to be engaging as well, too. So do you want to tackle that first one before we get into the jersey changes thing?
Yeah, for me, man, and I tweeted about this, and so I don't mean to be mean, but for me, I don't want to sit here and talk about that, because I want to be under the assumption of Jimmy Garoppolo being healthy and being good, because that's what we're being told is he's going to be the starter for now. So until that changes, I want to sit and pretend and say, hey, Jimmy's going to return to the 2019 vibe. I don't want to sit here and be negative and be looking at week 4 against Seattle, that's a tough defense. If he looks bad, maybe they try Trey Lance. I like to look at things at more. I don't want to say more positive and try and be that generic guy who's just be positive about everything, but I want to sit there and believe that I don't I'll say I don't want to have that suspension of disbelief where Trey Lance is going to take over. I just want to pretend that the Jimmy Garoppolo will be fine, or even at the same time Trey Lance takes over week 1. I just want the quarterback talk to be over. With that being said, just to answer your question, I'll say week 8. I'll go week 8. I'll throw out a middle number. I think that's enough time to find out if Jimmy Garoppolo is the answer for 2021. And then also I think it would be cool to see the first start against Justin Fields. So that's not really a guess. That's just more of me saying I think that'd be a cool first career game for him going into Chicago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, it's really hard to figure, right? I mean, the thing about it is it's so dependent on what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that we can all pretty much set our watch to, no matter what, even if there is some sort of quarterback competition, that it's probably going to be Jimmy Garoppolo week 1, because you can't have a $27 million backup. That's just not how things work, honestly. And then, we talked about it, tanking his trade value and things like that. So I think it's more dependent on what happens with him. Does he play well? Does he not? Does he get injured, God forbid? Something like that. It's hard to put a finger down on when you want it to. I mean, honestly, best case scenario for me is just get Trey ready for week 1. Just get him ready and just get him to play, because the first 2 weeks would be good for him to get moving, because, let's face it, not trying to, be a jerk, but Detroit's not really that good. Philly can be beat. So it's good for him to get in there and get his feet wet. So if you're asking when I think it should be week 1 off the bat, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Anything else after that is just going to be based on what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, the second part of the question, and Andrew, any other jersey changes you find out? We found out that Deebo Samuel's not going to number 1.
No.
He's not. He's going to stick with 19. So, but what we have, what Jimmy Ward's alluded to is that he's going to be number 1. So he's switching from 20 to 1. I don't know if you knew that, Andrew. No,
I did know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see. Did Kwaski post it on Instagram?
It was Jimmy.
Well, yeah, one of them, like, they did, like, I don't know. I saw a video on it that, like, Ward got one over him. And I forgot to even mention it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm a big jersey change guy. I apologize, Ray Iverson. I've let you down.
And also, not only thank you for the donation, but Allen Iverson is absolutely my favorite basketball player of all time. And that's it. Matter of fact, when I get back on Twitter, I'm following you just because you have that profile picture.
So back to my point, I think I got the games. It wasn't a Halloween game. It was November 13th, 2005 at Soldier Field. The winds were going at like 45 miles per hour. You guys want to watch Jason freak out? This game was in 2005. Chicago Bears kicker Robbie Gould went 1 for 2 on field goal attempts and 2 for 2 on extra points. This is 2005. That's 16 years ago, Jason Aponte.
He was so happy then because he loves Chicago.
He loves Chicago, and that's good for him. I'm happy he loves Chicago. I've never been. I need to be there. Got to go hang out with Luke. So let's continue this schedule. I'm going to say 2-1 in that stretch, just because in the stretch of Arizona, Indianapolis, the Bears. I think Indianapolis is probably the loss there. I really like the Colts. I like what they're doing. I'm gonna pretend like Carson Wentz is gonna be very productive for them. So I'm gonna say 2-1. So that puts them at 5-2 for me. Oh God, I got to start throwing some losses. I'm feeling pretty confident right now.
No, we're good.
The fourth stretch of this game, I'm gonna make it 5 games because we still got 10 more games to look at. Okay. Week 9 versus Arizona. Week 10 versus the Rams on Monday Night Football. Ooh. Week 11, the Niners get to see their another top quarterback draft pick, not Trey Lance. We already talked about him. He's a Niner player. I don't know why I think he's on the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is who the Niners will get to see week 11 in Jacksonville 2 days before my birthday. Put that in your calendar, November 21st. Birthday's on November 23rd. Remember that, guys. Week 12, Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins comes to town. I'm sure nobody will talk about that. And then week 13, the deadly at Seattle Sunday Night Football game. So there you go, Jason. The next 5, Arizona, Rams at Jacksonville versus Minnesota, and then at Seattle.
So I have to think that the 49ers are going to lose some divisional games. So I don't know if it's going to be the Rams at home or if it's going to be Arizona who trips us up once, like they usually do, right? So I'm going to choose one of those games to be, a loss. As far as the other games, I don't feel too bad about. I mean, honestly, they'll beat the Jaguars. Barring something horrible. With the other games, I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to keep up.
You're good, man. It's versus Minnesota, then at Seattle.
Versus Minnesota. Minnesota's going to be better this year. I still think that, as long as the defense is fine and they're playing, somewhere near the level of 2019, they'll still find a way to pull that one out. And yeah, I don't know if they're going to sweep Seattle. So maybe I'll give them one more loss there as well. It's in Seattle, and that's another Sunday Night Football game, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, that's a Sunday nighter.
Yeah, that's always one of the. So, look, perfect world, you sweep, the division, you win every single game, but let's try to be realistic and objective and try to pick out some games that could, get tripped up on. So, maybe it's an Arizona game, maybe it's one of the Rams games, maybe it's one of these Seattle games. So, I mean, I would say 2 losses out of all of these, and then the rest should be wins, including Minnesota.
Do you remember when we were doing in season and we were going over the schedule last year, and before Washington really became like a solidified playoff option, and I said, watch out for that Washington game. Their pass rush is really good, things like that. I don't want to say it, but this Jacksonville game, I don't know why it scares me so much, but you're coming off of a Monday Night Football. I'm not saying the Niners are losing this game. I'm just saying this could be a game where we're just like, when we're there, like, ooh, Jacksonville's a little better than we thought. You're coming off of a Monday Night Football game against a divisional team. You probably just beat the crap out of them. It's a short week. You got to go across the country to go play the Jaguars. You got to play maybe the only other tight end I'd take other than George Kittle, Tim Tebow. Like, there's a lot of things about that game that scares me. And I think the Niners win? Yes, I do. Absolutely. I think the Niners beat the Jaguars. It could just be one of those games where it's just like, that's not as easy as we think it's going to be as of May 12th. I think the Niners sweep Arizona. I always think the Niners are going to sweep the Rams until I'm proven otherwise. I know it's a little scary because this will be the first time they face Matt Stafford. I think they beat Jacksonville. The Vikings is tough, man. I'm going to mark that down as a loss because I feel like I'm just giving the Niners too many wins. And at some point, obviously the game changes week to week. The Niners aren't going to be at their best every week. I could definitely see Minnesota coming in and beating the Niners. And then I'm going to go Seattle loss again. Sunday Night Football, that's not week 17. I guess in this case would be week 18. I don't feel great. I don't feel great about at Seattle on Sunday night. The Jim Harbaugh years have scared me enough. So I'll go 3-2 in that stretch. And then we're going to close it out. Last stretch of the season, week 14 at Cincinnati. Week 15 against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sure we'll talk about that game a little bit because of the Kyle Shanahan connection. Second time I think Shanahan would face the Falcons, the first time being last year, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Then they go to Tennessee for a Thursday night game. That should be a very fun game. 2 days before Christmas. That should be a real fun game. Then they get that mini bye week that we kind of talked about. They get the Texans at home on January 2nd. And then for the first time ever, we're going to say the sentence week 18. They go to the Rams to close the season out. And hopefully it's a game that doesn't mean anything for the 49ers and have a what's it called? A game where they could rest everybody because they have a playoff spot clinched. There we go. I can remember words today. Jason Aponte, what do you think about the Bengals, Falcons, Titans, Texans, and Rams?
So that's a win. That's a win. The Titans one scares me because they're a good football team. They're going to wind up bringing it. The Texans, that's a win. And then I'm going to mark the 49ers down for a win in LA as well too to end the season. And hopefully that's not their last game in LA because we know a few weeks after that, there's another game.
Is that where the Super Bowl is next year? I'm glad I was like, are you trying to say like the Rams are going to get a first round bye and like the Niners are going to have to do that? No. Yes, Super Bowl next year is in Los Angeles. I don't know. Like what the Bengals one is interesting. I don't like the Bengals. I don't know why. I've never had a reason to dislike them. They scare me. Anytime I see those striped helmets, I don't know what it is, man. The Bengals just always scare me. I don't know why. They've never been good in my life, but I see those stripes. I'm just like, man, this is going to be hard. I also don't like 10 a.m. games, and I feel like the Niners have a lot of those this year. They have 6. Or no, they have 5.
You keep saying 10 a.m. and it's throwing me off because that's like not the time at all over here.
Oh, sorry. They have 1 p.m. games, Jason. Sorry, I don't speak East Coast. Man, this is total sidebar here. I get off the plane in Denver on Friday night at 11:15 Denver time. And the first thing I do is like, okay, the Giants game's probably over. Let's look at this score. Let's see what happens. And I'm like, why are they it is 11:15 and the Giants are in the 8th inning. Why? And then I'm like, zones. First time I've ever been not in my time zone. So it took me a lot to remember that. So I apologize. I can't remember your 3-hour thing, Jason. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 a.m. / 1 p.m. starts. And those games just always scare me. I just don't like watching the Niners while eating breakfast. I don't eat while watching football. So I skip breakfast those days. So that might be why I don't like those games. But they're just always weird when the West Coast team has to go out to the East Coast and play this 10 a.m. game. So I think I'm going to put that one in the same category as Jacksonville, where it's like they're going to have to go from Seattle Sunday night, the emotional highs and lows of that game, and then going to Cincinnati for a 10 a.m. start. It's kind of the same situation, right? Cincinnati's a team the Niners should beat. Might be a little harder because they could also be a team where it's just like, yeah, they're playing better than we thought they would at the start of the season. And as I said, I'm always going to mark the Niners as a win against the Rams until Sean McVay proves me otherwise. This Titans game, man, that's going to be that. That might be my favorite late season game because you also consider the weather in Tennessee. It gets cold. It gets a little snowy sometimes over there. That's going to be a very fun game. And I love snow football games more than I love a lot of things because I think football's supposed to be played in the snow. So I'm excited for that one. And that should just be such a good football game. I don't know. I'm going to say to 3-2, I'm going to put the Bengals loss as a loss because that'll be the one dumb loss of the year where we're just like, why did they lose to that team? Right. Kind of like the Falcons a couple years ago. I trust the Bengals more than I trust the Jaguars. And then I'm going to go a loss to the Tennessee Titans because that's going to be a hard game. Like no matter how you cut it, the Niners could be 14-0 at that point. And I'd sit there and be like, this is going to be a tough one. Like this is not going to be easy. Yeah. So I'll go 3-2. So what I do? 3-1, 2-1. Oh man, now I got to do math on the fly. Whoever's been
11-6.
Whoever's been taking notes, just tell me.
You're 11-6.
So that's another part of this question here, Jason. Is the goal, because it's 10-6, right? You want to be 10-6 to make the playoffs. So are we now saying 10-7 makes the playoffs, or do you want to be at 11-6? Is it still 10 wins?
10-7 probably makes the playoffs with the extra playoff spot. That's the other thing that should, but 11-6 that sits way better, you know. So you've got it 11-6. I've got it 12-5. Honestly, that's the way I'm looking at it right now. So
honestly, I'm such a dummy. I think I would rather than be 10-6 than 11-6. Like take away the win, just give me my normal schedules. Like how am I supposed to say the Niners are a 500 team? Like they can't. It's either they're above or below. Like I don't like it. This is the biggest schedule release of all time, guys. ESPN made sure to tell us that. But yeah, I mean,
but what made it so much bigger than any other year?
The extra
because people are going to be back, and people are going to be back in the seats.
I don't know. Maybe I just assumed it's the NFL. Their reasoning was there's one more game, so technically it's the biggest schedule release of all time, Jason. All right. But I could also see it being the crowd thing. I don't know, man. The NFL's not that deep. Sorry, Roger. I didn't mean that. Please don't find me, Roger.
Please look. I just got my NFL credentials. Please don't take them away.
Yeah, please. Andrew Pasquini said that, not Jason LaFonte. So yeah, I mean that's the schedule, Jason. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it. No. I don't know. Pick the game you're most excited. Pick the game you're least excited for. How about that?
Yeah, honestly, you know, my first game at Levi's is going to be the home opener. Super excited for that. You know, I really wish Aaron Rodgers would be there. You know, and what I want to tell people is, you know, book trips, make plans. Go see the team. Go see them. You know, whether that's at the stadium or somewhere else. You know, let's all get back to normal as best we can and try to have fun at sporting events, right? You know, especially, and this is an exciting time. So, yeah, it's going to be the game that I'm most excited about to see is the home opener, because that'll be my first game at Levi's, first 49er home game ever, because I never went to Candlestick. And, you know, I'm excited to travel. Already booked for Chicago. That's done. You know, Philly, that's a 90-minute drive for me, so I'll be there. And I think this might be the first time that I actually make it to Seattle. So that's another thing. I would love to go there and watch a game too as well. So this is going to be a fun time, man. You know, I put money aside just for this and just, you know, tried to make sure that I was in the best spot I could, so we could make these moves, and you know, we can meet a bunch of your fans and like a bunch of the fans and stuff, and just, you know, and just do normal stuff like tailgate, have a burger, you know, and normal stuff.
Yes, normal stuff. Yeah, I'd probably say the Green Bay game, but just to kind of change it up, I'll say the Indianapolis game. It's something about the Colts. I always look forward to those games. I think it's just the jerseys. Like the Colts probably have one of my favorite jerseys in the NFL, and I just like watching them. So I'll say Indianapolis. I think DeForest Buckner coming in, I think that's maybe the first true test of the season, I think, because, you know, Green Bay week 3, you're still kind of figuring things out at that point. Seattle's going to be Seattle. So I don't know if, like, it's a test. I'm going to say that, but you get a second chance against Seattle. I think getting a chance to see yourself against the Colts, who I think is one of the best teams in the AFC. Like, they might be a top 3 team in the AFC next year, especially if Carson Wentz is what they think he is. I think that's going to be maybe the first true test of the regular season for the 49ers. So not listed on the schedule, Jason. The divisional round, the Niners will play the Minnesota Vikings. Who wins that and why? No, I'm just.
Whoa, wait, we got there.
And then when they win that, the NFC Championship game, as weird as it sounds, the 49ers, they go back to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Like Trey Lance versus Justin Fields, NFC Championship game.
Wow.
We can't say no rookie has ever made it to the Super Bowl anymore. Things like that. When the Niners win Super Bowl 56, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they converted Tim Tebow back to quarterback, baby. Urban Meyer said, Trey Lance, I don't know why I keep saying Trey Lance. Trevor Lawrence, he's tall enough to be a receiver. We're going to get Tebow throwing the ball to Trevor Lawrence. It worked. Urban Meyer, coach of the year, but Kyle Shanahan, he gets his first ring. And that's the NFL schedule for the 49ers in 2021. The Niners over the Jaguars. That is my Super Bowl prediction.
Boom.
Thank you for joining, guys.
Nailed it. We bullied them into the schedule that we wanted. Yes. We're going to bully the NFL into giving the 49ers a Super Bowl and making sure that happens too. So we're working.
I can't wait for there actually to be a Jaguar 49ers Super Bowl and me just jokingly saying this and like, yep, we called it. Sprint Right Option Podcast. We called it. The 75th year of 49ers football, and they play the Jacksonville Jaguars in Los Angeles.
Unbelievable. What would the odds be on that? That's got to be like plus 50,000. Like if you put $10 down and that happened, you would like walk away with like 5 bands or something like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll look up the future odds on a specifically 49ers Jaguars.
Also, one more thing for people who are thinking about betting. The 49ers have the 32nd easiest. So the 32nd was the easiest. It's the easiest schedule.
It was the easiest schedule based off projections for the 2021 season. So I think that's a little different too than the like last year's win percentage thing. So it's a little different. And like for me, I like it. It's cool to know that the Niners have the quote unquote easiest schedule, but like that
workplace schedule.
By the time we get to like week 7, the Niners could have the hardest schedule because we'll have games played. So
yeah. Well, I mean, what I was going to say is, you might want to check what that over under is on your sports book and see. Mm-hmm. And, based off of that, you might want to think about taking the over. So there's your betting advice too. There
we go. So that's it. I guess the Sprint Right Option Podcast today. We're done. We're done talking about the schedule for next year. Maybe next week we'll talk about their 2022 opponents. We won't know all of them, but we won't tell you the order. We won't spoil that. We'll just talk about the opponents by themselves.
Right.
No, man. I mean, I really, I don't know, man. We're going to have to put some things together because we're really at the dead point of the NFL offseason because we got
Whoa.
Did I forget something?
Yes, you did. This weekend, rookie minicamp.
Oh, rookie minicamps.
So there you go.
I can't believe I forgot rookie minicamp.
We'll have plenty to talk about today. We weren't able to get our hands on our press conference, but it didn't sound like Trey Sermon or Trey Lance was at it anyway. But yes, Friday through Sunday, rookie minicamp. All the beat writers are going to be there. Spoke to Grant. He's going. So, I'll have him on the channel this weekend, to see, what's going on. But we will have video and stuff like that to talk about and who did well. So, yeah, we got something to talk about.
We got some stuff to talk about, and that excites me because I forgot the rookie minicamp was happening, and we have things to talk about now. So there we go. Look out for that next week. As usual, like if anything happens in between now and the next time we record, obviously
emergency podcast
pods exist. Jason has his hands in so many bowls. He might hear things, regarding more schedule stuff. I don't know what Jason Aponte knows. Oh,
no more. I'm done with this. I'm literally I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire out on top, and I don't want to do this anymore. My anxiety went through the roof. When that NFL rumors page said per Jason Aponte, these games.
That happened?
I sat there and looked at it, and my heart started racing because I can't deal with that sort of pressure. But then, thank God, all of them were correct. Like, I was just like, it was more of a sigh of relief, honestly, than anything.
I love it. Jason Aponte getting that credit because he's the one who created the schedule. Jason Aponte did. And speaking of Jason Aponte, as always,
let's go Niners.